.com. Nick, there's been a lot made about your staff turnover, the amount of coaches that have been turnover on your staff. Are you difficult to work for?
Well, I don't know. You'd have to ask some of the people that work for me. It's always interesting that, you know, they may say that, but then when they get a job and they go do it, they do it exactly like we did it. So, I don't know. Look, we have a difficult job. We have 125 players on our team. They're all adolescents. They need a lot of support. They need a lot of direction. They need a lot of leadership. Recruiting has become, 24/7 because we've created a scenario where we have to recruit constantly because we're recruiting guys in advance as we move up the recruiting calendar. So none of this is easy. And I think when you're in a position of leadership and you're trying to make people be accountable and responsible to a standard that's going to help you continue to have success, that sometimes you have to make people do things that they really don't want to do, that may be in the best interest of the overall organization. So am I willing to do that? Absolutely. So you have to make a choice and decision. You want to do it right, or you want to make everybody happy. No different than raising your children. You know, I go through this with Terry. You know, when we were raising our kids, she wanted to make them happy, and I wanted to make them do right. So I don't know. I'd like for him to do right and be happy doing right. That's what I'd like for him to do, and that's the same thing I'd like for our coaches.
All right, we've got 3 final questions. We'll start here in the center in the 3rd row. Please stand.
Drew DeGarman, WCZN Radio, Huntsville, Alabama coach. I wanted to ask you about the addition of Charles Kelly to your coaching staff and also the development of Josh Jobe and what kind of impact he could maybe have in the secondary.
Right. Well, I think Charles Kelly has been a wonderful addition to our staff. He's very knowledgeable. He's got great relationships in Alabama and our part of the country in terms of his experience in recruiting. Very knowledgeable coach. Great relationships with the players. Really gets along well with the people on the staff and makes a real positive contribution to the defensive staff in general because of the knowledge and experience he has, having been a coordinator, and it's very, very helpful to the development of our defense. Josh Jobe has made a tremendous amount of improvement and has matured very nicely, and we view him as a guy that is a potential starter and a guy that is playing in a way that throughout the spring that we have confidence that if he's a starter, he can be very successful, and we can be very successful with him playing corner for us.
Okay, we'll go all the way back in the center section, Coach, all the way in the back.
Hey, Nick. Brooks Cabina with The Advocate in Baton Rouge. Following up on the transfer portal part earlier, how has the portal changed how you approach adding talent to your roster and also retaining it?
We really, look, we feel like it's a challenge for us to create an atmosphere and an environment for our players that we're providing the leadership and the support to do the things that are going to help them be more successful in life. So, if that's not what they want to do and they choose not to do it, that's got to be their choice. But I ask players all the time to establish goals for themselves personally, academically, and athletically. And then I try to get them to edit their behavior to be able to accomplish those goals. And if their behavior is not in line with that, we sort of tell them. And some people don't like to believe the truth. There's 3 things about the truth. And, I tell my kids all the time about, if you don't tell me the truth, I can't trust you. If I can't trust you, we can't have a relationship. But truth is important. I think we all have to tell the truth. I think we have to live the truth. but I also think sometimes you got to believe the truth. So when somebody tells you something you really don't want to hear, that you might need to do that's going to help you be more successful, you got to believe it. Some people have a hard time with that. And if that means they need to leave and go someplace else, then I guess there's not a lot we can do about that. But we have not been very active. We're usually full from a scholarship standpoint, so we haven't really been active, trying to go and recruit transfers from other schools. We look at who's in the graduate transfer pool, and if there's somebody that can give us immediate help on our team, we have had several graduate transfers. So we really haven't been active at all in, that part of how we bring players to our team.
Coach, we'll take one final question on the left. Pat?
Pat Forty from Yahoo Sports. Nick, there's plenty of talk about what makes a good offensive play caller. What makes a good defensive play caller?
Well, I think, knowledge and experience is always really, really important in whatever part of the game that you call. And I think good preparation can contribute to that. And I think, having a philosophy of how you apply things in situations in games can be, beneficial to being a good signal caller. But I think you have to have a lot of patience when you play defense, and you have to have a philosophy of, how do we want to play this game? Are we going to be aggressive and blitz a lot and try to create a lot of negative plays, which also creates opportunities for the other team to make a lot of explosive plays? Or are we going to make them execute and drive the ball through, against us, which takes a lot of patience. But I think if you play that way and you're aggressive attacking the ball and you play fairly well on third down and in the red zone and you don't give up explosive plays, you kind of become hard to score on. So that's really kind of been more our philosophy of how we try to do it. But I tell you, it's very challenging. It's much more challenging nowadays, and I think statistics, bear this out. I think like our 2010 or something 11 team, I don't know when, gave up 8.7 points a game for the year. And I think now if you give up 15, twice as many as that, you'd be one of the national leaders. So it's been more challenging with the advent of the RPOs. Some of the rules that we have in college football, certainly favor the offense blocking downfield on, passes behind the line of scrimmage. I'm not complaining about the rules. I'm just saying it makes it harder to play good defense when you have some of the rules that we have. So, and we try to take advantage of those on offense, to be honest.
Coach, thank you for your time this morning.
All right, thank you. And again, I'd like to thank everybody here for, the self-gratification that you bring to a lot of players with your attention and the attention that you give them, and how much you enhance our game in terms of interest with fans. I think it's really important to the success of the game long term. So thank you very much.